Speed up your talking. All right, you
Do
ready?
my best.
Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to the Cartographers Guild. My name is Josh,
I'm Drea.
I'm Leah.
I'm Brad.
And I'm the Silver Knight of Awesomeness.
and we're doing part 2 of Brad's Symposium on all things Kingdom Hearts and confusing the hell out of the rest of us.
Actually, so far, I think I'm okay.
Well, bully for you.
The hardest part for me is always figuring out the evolution of Xehanort.
Thank you for coming to our TED Talk.
So, where we last left off, Sora was running through a field of nothing to try to find Pluto, who theoretically had a hint on finding Riku, because he's with Mickey in the Realm of Darkness. And also there are all these nobodies. So, Xemnas had recruited Roxas, and his plan up until this point had been to gather enough disparate hearts that the Heartless have gathered, destroy the Heartless, take their hearts, and create his own Kingdom Hearts.
Create his own.
Yes.
Okay. So far we've had various methods of getting to Kingdom Hearts, and now somebody's trying to make an artificial one?
Yes. That is Xemnas' plan. He specifically recruits Roxas for that. He is also, because of that short link he had with Aqua in the Realm of Darkness, and also because of his own sketchy memories, he knows that the Land of Departure, which became Castle Oblivion, exists, and there's something going on there. So he sends a bunch of his organizers after them. I'm going to call them organizers.
Oh, they
His
are?
organizers after him.
Because it's organization.
Because it's Organization 30. Specifically, if you see the guy with the blue hair, all the ones on the other side of him, those 5, and also Axel, the one with red hair, go to Castle Oblivion and start investigating the strange magic that goes on there. The 5 on that right side also decide that they don't like being under Xemnas' thumb. A lot of them were more recent recruits, and they decide that they're going to rebel. Axel, we find out later, was sent there to figure out, to make sure, yeah, they're definitely rebelling, and then take them out. Sora stumbles across Castle Oblivion. And he goes inside, and he's like, wow, this place is real weird. And then some of the nobodies start appearing before him.
And just to refresh my memory, Castle Oblivion is the fortress version of the Land of Departure,
Yes.
which was where the people in Birth by Sleep were trained.
Right. It is the home of the Keyblade Masters.
Okay, the home of the Keyblade Masters in fortress form is Castle Oblivion.
Isn't it now the one that contains Ventus's
Body.
heart?
Also correct, yes.
Or body?
His
and,
body.
And I thought you had said previously, like, the only way to get into it was to be a Keymaster with...
Only get to the heart of...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can go in and explore it, but the magic of that place twists your own memories against you and leads you down a labyrinth.
You get
of
lost.
of your own mind's making, and so it's impossible to reach the heart of it. The center of it, I should say. It might have a heart, it probably does, but...
Everything else does.
I don't know if it's actually this heart.
I mean, the coffee maker probably has a heart at this rate.
I mean, if you feel strongly enough about the coffee maker, which a lot of people do, it will probably grow.
Quite possibly,
It'll
I
probably
can
grow
make
at
an
some
argument for it.
Yeah. So,
Where's that meeting?
So Sora goes into this, and the various organizers who are there continuously taunt him because they also recognize that Sora is really important because he has a Keyblade. So they're trying to mess up his memories enough that they can take him over. They're being helped in this by
I know
this
who
girl.
that is.
What's her name?
Her name is Nominee.
This is Nominee. She claims to be a witch who can manipulate memories. There's more to it than that, which we might as well get out of the way now. When Kairi lost her heart back on Destiny Island when it was destroyed...
I can do this one too. She can't have a Heartless because she has no darkness because she's a Princess of Heart.
Right, and her heart went into Sora.
But she could have a Nobody.
Kind of, but because she didn't become a Heartless and because her body never went anywhere, like normally your body becomes your Nobody.
Oh, that's right, but it didn't.
But it didn't.
It
She'd
stayed
still
in
just
that.
had a
Okay, now
normal-
I'm confused again. I thought Nominee was effectively Kairi's Nobody.
They
say it
the
that
games,
way.
The games kind of say it that way. They want you to think that, but it's not. Also, there's some of the extra in-game reports mention that she's special.
Okay.
Naminé because she is kind of a combination of Sora and Kairi. And that's why Naminé doesn't have power over everyone's memories. She just has power over Sora's memories.
But that's important.
Because now Sora is here, and she's under the thumb of Marluxia, the one with pink hair, who is in charge of these rebels, and they're forcing Naminé to mess with Sora's memories. She eventually messes him up so much that she inserts herself, more or less eliminates Kairi from his memories, and says, I'm the one you've been searching for. You made a promise to find me a long time ago. You're only just remembering that now. But that's okay. You can come find me, and it's going to be great.
A long time ago, even though you're 12.
Yeah. I mean, Sora's like 14 in this game, I think.
Oh, is he?
Or at this point, he's 15. He was 14 in Kingdom Hearts 1. It's been a year. It's 15 now.
And
He'll be
it's
16.
It's gradual. When he first walks in, he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, there was this friend called Naminé that I'm supposed to search for." And by the end, she is.
And then Goofy and Donald are like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
She's taken Kairi's place. Like she is effectively Kairi in his mind.
She is messing him up to the point that, like, Donald and Goofy recognize there's something wrong with you. You need to stop pushing forward all the time. And he's like, no, I have a friend. I have to save her. And if you're not going to help me save her, then forget you. Goodbye. They split off for a little while, but they eventually reunite. Also, while they're doing this, there's this Riku that keeps attacking them. And it's Riku with all of his darkness powers when he was first possessed by Handsome Secret of Darkness. And it's like, why is Riku here? Why is he so aggressive? Eventually, this version of Riku starts saying, I'm going to get Naminé, not you, and they fight over it. It turns out that some of these organizers have the power to create people, basically. They call them dolls. They don't have real hearts, kind of. But they're able to take on the memories and the appearance and the powers a lot of the times of other people.
That's pretty badass power.
It's kind of incredible, and they just kind of gloss over it.
Super confusing.
So
But
this
definitely-
It's broken, man. It's OP.
Then you
Yeah.
can trust no one.
But definitely not a nobody.
yeah, but it's definitely not nobody. So Riku. This version of Riku is just a doll, and eventually to stop him, Naminé has to break the Riku doll's heart, kind of, because she's connected enough she can do that, I think. Anyway, Sora finally gets through all of this, confronts Naminé, and she's like, I'm really sorry about this. They were forcing me to do it, and I feel real bad now. And so she puts Sora into a pod and says, it's going to take me a year, but I will be able to reconstruct your memory so you can go back to how you were before.
Should also point out that she said Marluxia is forcing me to do this. He goes and kills Marluxia and a handful of these rebel organizers.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are out of the
So
picture.
a number of them are out of the picture. Also, Axel is going around, Sora doesn't kill a lot of them, but Axel goes around behind his back once they're weakened and takes them out.
Go back to the Organization 13 picture. So Axel's the guy with the flaming red hair.
Yes. Just left of Xemnas.
Just to the left of Xemnas, right?
And then all the ones to the right of the blue-haired guy, his name is Syx. You remember Issa. Lee and Issa are Axel and Syx.
Yeah,
Because
those
remember,
are their nobodies.
Yeah,
right?
because remember, nobody's organizers rearrange their names and add an X. So all the ones to the right throughout the course of this game and throughout
I remember
Riku's part of the
seeing
game.
that blonde one over there near the end.
Yeah, she has lightning
I
powers.
hated her.
She's also the only girl in the organization, aside from Asterisk.
I was going to say, the pink-haired one's not a girl?
No, that's
No,
Marluxia. That's a
Marluxia.
guy.
Oh, okay.
He was in charge of the rebels.
Yeah, okay,
So,
done.
okay, so we
You
also
can go
find
back
out
now.
after you beat that part of Chain of Memories, you unlock Riku mode. Riku, who had been traveling through the Realm of Darkness, stumbles across the bottom of Castle Oblivion. See, back when Xehanort had destroyed it with his meteor swarm, it became a Twilight world. So now it straddles the Realm of Darkness and the Realm of Light, and so Riku's able to come in through the basement. He meets this guy named, I have a picture here. Yeah, Diz.
Oh, Diz.
I'm just gonna get this out of the way now because it's gonna be confusing otherwise. Diz is Ansem. When
The
Ansem-
real
Ansem.
The real Ansem, not Ansem Sacred of Darkness, the original scientist guy. Ansem, when he got banished to the Realm of Darkness, he put together this most ridiculous of costumes. including the uncountable number of belts all over his face.
We're doing you a favor telling you now because they put this off forever.
Yeah. So this is Ansem. He
Does
knows.
he have no arms?
He has them folded behind his back.
Okay, it's just an odd.
Diz
Yeah,
also
it's not
stands for
Darkness is 0. Because he's super into this whole darkness thing. He was stuck in the realm of darkness for a long time and it messed him up, kind of. But
That's
now,
the thing that happens.
yeah, he is somehow
Anyway,
coming
Riku meets this guy.
Yeah, Riku meets this guy and a couple of the organizers. Diz is trying to push him to get stronger because Riku is still struggling with the shadow of Ansem Seeker of Darkness with Xehanort Heartless. He still has all these darkness powers and he still needs them because the place that he's in is dangerous. And so he has to keep deciding whether or not to embrace the powers of darkness. He fights a copy of Ansem Seeker of Darkness multiple times as he's ascending Castle Oblivion. And also Mickey is there, or a projection of him at least, helping him along the way, reassuring him, being the light that Riku needs in this dark time.
Does Riku have a Keyblade?
No. At this point, he still just has what's called Soul Eater, which is, he had in Kingdom Hearts 1, it's like a sword that looks like a bat wing.
But it's not a Keyblade.
But it's not a Keyblade, it is just a magic sword.
You may assume it's a Keyblade because everyone has one.
Well, not yet.
Not yet.
I mean, previously,
Feels
yes.
that way.
In Birth by Sleep, everyone had a Keyblade. Like, so, side note, Kingdom Hearts 1 is my favorite story-wise. Kingdom Hearts 2 is my favorite game in the series. Kingdom Hearts 1 is my favorite story-wise because if you just take it alone, it makes so much more sense.
Just by itself.
Just by
And
itself,
when they start adding stuff like Birth by Sleep, you're just like, what is going on?
Even by the time we get to Kingdom Hearts 2, suddenly everyone has Keyblades, and Sora has 2 of them, and sometimes 3 of them, and it's like, okay, Keyblades used to be special. Now they're just handing them out.
It's like being a Jedi.
Yeah. So Riku is...
Give those lightsabers to anyone.
Yeah. So Riku is ascending. He's constantly having to confront the darkness inside him. Diz is kind of pushing him to embrace the darkness and make it his own. Mickey is trying to keep him inside the light. He defeats the shadow of hardness of Xehanort Heartless that has been plaguing him at the end. Steps out, and Diz says, so you have 2 paths ahead of you, path of darkness, the path of light. And Riku says, I choose the path between. Diz says, the path to twilight, and Riku says, no, the path to dawn. And that's his big moment of accepting that he is in darkness now, but there's a way toward light.
He also takes out a couple more of the organizers.
Yeah.
So between Sora and Riku, they're all toast at this point.
At
All
this point,
6 of them or 5
they're
of
all
them.
gone.
However many.
Okay, so at this point, we need to go back to the organizers because this is when 358/2 days happens.
Oh yes, please tell me about this because I know nothing about this.
That's because nothing happens.
That's not true.
It's technically a lot of things happen, but they're all things that are covered in reasonable enough detail in Kingdom Hearts 2. You find out what happens well enough there, everything that you need to know. So, what happens? Roxas joins the organization, and he keeps falling unconscious for days, weeks at a time.
So this happens after Chain of Memories.
This happens concurrent with Chain of Memories.
Okay,
And partly after. Because remember, Naminé put Sora to sleep for a year.
right.
358 is 1 week less than a full year. Because the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2 is the final week when Sora is unconscious and getting his memories repaired. The 358 is the year that takes place between these two.
Yeah.
But it does technically begin before Chain of Memories because that's when Roxas first wakes up.
Right.
Roxas is being inducted into the organization. They're teaching him to fight and how to gather hearts for their master plan of gathering enough hearts, because Xemnas claims that if they gather enough hearts and create Kingdom Hearts, they'll be able to give themselves hearts again. Because it turns out nobody actually likes being a nobody. You don't get to have emotions because you don't have a heart. And so people are upset about that as much as you can be without a heart. They recognize that they're broken and need to have hearts again. So that's his claim. That's what he wants to do.
Because they still seem to have ambition.
Yeah.
And this is an interesting thing. I'm going to interject very briefly. I promise. This is an interesting thing that I have seen in other fictional universes where you lose your ability to feel, but you still have things like ambition and the desire to live, and so on and so forth. And so that's a theme. That's a recurrent theme. Okay, that's all. That's all I was going to say.
So, a little while after Roxas joins the organization, they introduce this girl with the black hair who also has a Keyblade. And they call her Xion, Xion.
And that's the little one standing next to Roxas,
yes.
right?
She's the 14th member of Organization 13, which should be a little suspicious.
I am suspicious.
As time goes on, Axel, Roxas, and Xion all become very good friends. Which again shouldn't be possible because they don't have hearts, but they do. Both Roxas and Xion start to remember things that Sora should remember. It turns out that as Naminé is repairing Sora, some of their memories are filtering down to these two. Because Roxas is this nobody, should have some of his memories, should have all of his memories under normal nobody circumstances. Xion, they eventually reveal after much waffling and eating ice cream, is a theme in that game. Xion, it turns out, is another one of those dolls. But she was made to hold Sora's memories, as much of those memories as they could capture, because they realized they basically wanted a backup Keyblade wielder. Roxas very quickly became out of control, and so they were like, okay, maybe if we just put all of Sora's memories into this doll, we can use her and manipulate her enough that then we can have all the hearts we want. So they...
But she can't have a Keyblade because she doesn't have a heart.
Well, neither can Roxas. He wields two.
See, and this is part of why I don't really like 358, because Roxas...
It's supposed to be, like, really special. He's part of Sora.
He is... Okay, I would argue that Roxas isn't Sora's nobody. He's just Ven. Because, like, Roxas from the beginning, unlike every other nobody, has a lot of emotions, and he makes friends when no one else is able to. Roxas has a heart from the beginning. And that's not Sora's Keyblade, that's Ven's Keyblade. And so he is becoming his own person, but also getting this influx of Sora's memories. Eventually, the two of them have to fight because Xion kind of goes insane. By the way, her name is Number I, the imaginary number, because she's not the 14th member. She was never meant to be.
Gotcha.
And so they end up having to fight. Riku shows up a couple times up to this point, trying to get Roxas, basically, but Roxas manages to fight him off. And so in the end, Xion kind of just loses control, becomes this monstrosity. Roxas has to fight her. He abandons the organization, takes down Xion, and then, because Xion was a created being, and the only real memories that anyone had of her were generated, everyone forgets that she exists. That's why she never comes up in any subsequent games. She just ceases to exist, including in everyone's memories.
See, now, from the cutscenes I saw, I mean, yes, she did go crazy, but she also realized who she was and that whoever was organizing this plan had to be stopped. And, Xemnas forming Kingdom Hearts had to be stopped. And for that to ultimately happen, she had to be defeated and returned to Sora.
Yeah, but she's still a multi-stage boss fight at the end of the game, so she had to go a little crazy.
Yeah, there's some craziness was involved.
Wow, that's convenient for plot that no one has to remember her or anything.
Because as soon as Roxas strikes her down, he's like, who are you again?
So it is after this point, and the reason why I think that Roxas is Ven, it is after this point that Roxas gains the ability to wield two Keyblades. Because he has his own, and now Xion has been getting enough of Sora's memories that he's able to wield Sora's Keyblade. And so now Roxas has both of those, having struck down Xion, taking all of her memories.
Interesting.
And taken that much of Sora into himself. So...
Roxas is confusing. Short answer.
Yeah. So Roxas, again, he's broken with the organization. He wants to figure out what's going on with himself. And Riku shows up and is like, I need you. You're part of Sora. You need to come with me. And Roxas is like, I want to be my own person. you can't just take me and tear me apart and put me inside someone else. And so they fight. And Roxas wins, but Riku can't stand for this, so he once again fully embraces the power of darkness and turns back into Ansem, Seeker of Darkness.
I thought he was gone. I thought
He-
Riku beat him.
He kind of did, but there's still at least a little bit of a shadow left in there because
Well, and
he
that,
doesn't.
and we did mention that a minute ago,
Yeah.
that he still does have the shadows
He's-
of...
I just figured he would have his own darkness. Like, okay,
So-
so this guy's forever in there.
But it's not like Ansem acting through him. He just kind of looks like Ansem and has his voice. He doesn't actually behave in Ansem. He's still Riku. He just has Ansem body now.
Weird.
This is mostly used as a confusing plot point in Kingdom Hearts 2. So, Riku embraces the power of darkness, manages to beat Roxas up, takes him back to Diz, who's he's still working with, because Diz is working with Naminé to try to put Sora back together. Diz, being the genius that he is able to create a digital version of another Twilight world called Twilight Town. Twilight Town had come up a number of times in 358/2. It was just a place where people went to find Heartless, basically. But it was also where a lot of the friendship between Axel, Roxas, and Xion took place. So Diz has this basement where he has a digital version of Twilight Town, and he digitizes Roxas and puts him in there for the last 7 days that they need to finally put Sora together. And while he's doing this, he manages to wipe all of Roxas's memories to keep him contained for the moment.
So that was 358/2.
That was 358/2. Now we're on to Kingdom Hearts 2. The week of Roxas and his saddest summer vacation ever takes place, where he has these friends that he has memories implanted of these friends, and he keeps trying to have a good time with them, but things keep getting in the way, including various organization members that manage to infiltrate the digital world and mess with things, as well as a number of other faceless nobodies. Eventually, they manage to get in just under the wire. Diz completes his plan. Roxas is reabsorbed into Sora. Roxas is very unhappy about this, but he can't do anything about it because he's still stuck in the digital world. And Sora wakes up. And now Sora looks like this. After a little bit, he's running around, getting used to his new body. He also doesn't remember anything that happened in Castle Oblivion because that was all about his memories being torn apart.
And Naminé warned him that he would not remember her or anything that happened.
Right. So he has no idea that any of that happened. He doesn't know where Riku is. He thinks he's still lost in the realm of darkness, whereas Riku is fine and just running around helping him out behind the scenes. And also Donald and Goofy, because they shared these memories with Sora, their memories were torn apart as well. So they don't remember anything from Castle Oblivion either. So they set off to try to find Riku and Mickey.
Right.
They've very quickly run across Mickey, and he's like, here's a couple plot tokens that you'll use later. Take this bus later. And they're like, and Donald and Goofy are like, orders from the king, yes sir, off we go. Roxas and Sora's like, where's Riku? And he's like, sorry, bye. So Sora goes and meets Yen Sid at this point, and Yen Sid's like, I have these friendly fairies, they're going to make you a new outfit, that's what this is about.
Because you've kind of outgrown your
Yeah,
one
at
in
this
the last
point-
year.
At this point, he's grown up enough that he needs a new outfit, so they gave him one.
This is actually kind of, I mean, I know this is really convoluted, but like, just putting this in the mind of the player for a minute, like, if you only played Kingdom Hearts 1, and now you're in Kingdom Hearts 2, let's say you even played Chain of Memories and don't know any of this other stuff. Like, you start with Kingdom Hearts 2, who's this guy? Like, why is Sora coming out of a pod? They actually do a pretty good job of, like, kind of glossing over things so you don't feel a great lack, and in Kingdom Hearts 2, like, going over the stuff you need to know from Chain of Memories so you're not completely like, what in the world is going on here?
Yeah, that's why 358/2 is the game where it was one of the games where nothing happens, because it's all covered in this much better game in all the detail it needs to be, and also everyone forgets anyway.
Convenient memory loss.
So Sora gets his new clothes. He's also able to wield 2 Keyblades now, and they go off to try to find Riku and have adventures. And also they say there are these nobodies around. You should probably figure out what they're up to and deal with that.
And they're all like, nobodies? What in
Yeah.
the world is that?
And Yensid explains nobodies are what happens when Heartless leaves the body, and there's this organization that seems to be in charge of them. Please look into that. Danger. So they go around, they meet the Final Fantasy characters that are back at Hollow Bastion now. It's still Hollow Bastion because they haven't managed, because there's still a ton of Heartless. And Maleficent is still making that her home base. So it's
Oh, by the
kind of
way,
a mess.
she's back.
By the way, Maleficent is back.
She's
just,
not actually dead.
She just comes back whenever she feels like it. She's a witch.
She's the mistress of all evil.
Yeah. And so
Am says, remember, in 2005, dual wielding anything was the ultimate feature.
That is true.
So they go on a number of adventures in various Disney worlds, makes new friends, and then eventually they come back to Hollow Bastion and find out that there was this whole digital landscape that's, what's it called?
Tron?
Yeah, Tron, thank you. It's the Tron world. And they investigate the Tron world for a little while and find out that Ansem used to be in charge, and also Ansem wasn't a bad guy. This is where they start to catch up some.
Yeah, this is where they finally learn about this whole Ansem Xehanort thing.
A tiny little bit. They find out that, yeah, Ansem wasn't Ansem, he was Xehanort, and also Xemnas is now in charge of the organization, and he's bad news. Mickey shows up again at this point to help explain some of this. And then they go off and go on adventures to some more worlds. And then we get a couple shots of Kairi throughout this, of her, like, realizing that she forgot about Sora. Because when Sora's memories were shattered, everyone who knew him also forgot about him. And then, now that he's put together, everyone starts remembering him again, including Kairi, and Kairi's like, oh yeah, I had those friends, Riku and Sora, and they're out there, and I hope they're okay. And eventually Axel kidnaps her.
Axel is a really special nobody case as well, but we can get into that later.
Because
I guess.
because he was friends with Roxas, and he was really upset to see Roxas leave.
Yeah, it turns out that whole nobodies can't have emotions thing is basically bull.
That will be important in a little bit, yes.
I said basically.
Well, anyway.
So Kairi gets kidnapped by Axel. Sora fights a number of the organizers on various Disney worlds, but there are a few left, including Axel and Xemnas are the main ones that matter. They once again go back to Hollow Bastion. They get into a long fight where a lot of needlessly confusing things happen, including Maleficent saving them because she doesn't like that the organization is stronger than she is. And she knows that Sora can fight the organization better than she can. And also, Sora comes kind of face to face with Riku in Ansem's body with his hood up, so he doesn't see at that point that Riku looks like Ansem.
He
but
thinks it's
at this
Ansem.
point, at this point, he knows that Riku is okay, and so he continues on his adventure. And they start, and eventually they find their way, or they find out that there's this world that never was, where the nobodies have set up base. It's another Twilight world, but they can't get in. It's just locked off for some reason. They go back to Twilight Town, and are able, through those plot MacGuffins that they got from Mickey earlier and from Riku in the mid-game, and are able to find their way into the basement of Ansem, where they find the digital world and are able to go into it just long enough to use it as a portal to get to the world that never was. Axel helps them along the way because they're still basically going through a portal of darkness, and nobodies can handle that because they don't have hearts, they're not in a lot of danger, but there are just a million nobodies, and at this point Axel has realized that he cares enough about Roxas that he also cares about Sora, so he saves them, makes sure they manage to get into the world that never was,
Meanwhile,
and
Sora
fades into
is-
oblivion.
Meanwhile, Sora is supremely confused
Right.
because that's a bad guy, and I don't know why he's helping me, and that's Ansem, I think, and I don't know why he's being so nice to me.
Right,
And what is
he's-
even happening right now?
And also, like, people keep calling him Roxas, and he has no idea who Roxas is. because he never actually came face to face with Roxas. He was asleep when Roxas was absorbed back into him.
A couple more points to make. Number one, the Tron world is actually like the security system for Hollow Bastion. And it's during the course of Kingdom Hearts 2 that gets rebooted and takes out the Heartless, and that world becomes Radiant Garden again.
Yes.
Secondly, Axel's an interesting character, as Leah said, and, in the space of Chain of Memories, you find out he's a double agent. Yeah, I'm working with the rebels. Nope, psych. Zenmus sent me to take you all out. Ha ha ha, stab. And I get the feeling that who Axel is really most loyal to is himself and Roxas, his best friend. So that's why he's helping Sora.
Right.
Well, and Riku's also doing a lot of this needless. Isn't he stuck in the Ansem form?
Yeah,
a lot of the
he
time?
can't change back.
And he's like really ashamed, and he doesn't want Sora to know that it's him. So
so he refuses
there's
to.
a lot of no, I'm evil now.
Right.
I can't let him know. He can't find out.
So in the world that never was, Kairi is behind bars that she could easily walk through because it's giant anime nonsense. But she's captured, and then, Kairi is captured, and then Naminé shows up
Why is
out of
that?
nowhere.
Yeah,
Why did Axel do that?
So, why did what?
Well,
Why did Axel? So Axel kidnapped Kairi because he was told to, and then he felt bad.
Yeah, Zenmus told
Axel
to kidnap Kairi.
Where did Naminé come from?
Yeah, that's my
Naminé-
second
okay.
question.
Alright, hang on. Go ahead.
So, Naminé, is enough of a nobody that she can do portals to darkness, which lets her use the realm of darkness to travel between places. So she, knowing that she has this connection to Kairi at this point, because she's been through all of Sora's memories, she puts the pieces together. She recognizes that she is kind of part of Kairi. And so she helps her escape. When they touch, she kind of disappears. Naminé is still she's able to come out in ghost form occasionally, but she's basically absorbed into Kairi at this point.
Because she's sort of Kairi.
Because she's sort of part of Kairi.
Sort of?
It doesn't matter. They're together now. That's actually...
Anyway, we're in love.
Yeah, a minor plot point. Roxas came face to face with Naminé a couple times during that whole Week of Sadness thing.
Right.
And she promised, she was explaining to him that they were nobodies and that they had to reunite with their original selves. And she said, don't worry, if they're together, we'll be together. So that's part of her motivation to get back to Kairi is Roxas and Sora together, so she is with Kairi.
I don't remember why Naminé cares about Roxas.
Probably it's probably bleed off because Kairi cares about Sora.
Yeah.
It's
It's all
So-
it's all connected.
right. So while Kairi's trying to escape, Riku comes to her rescue, and she recognizes that it's really Riku underneath Ansem's skin.
Princess of Heart Powers. I guess.
Princess of Heart Powers.
Because she can see his heart.
Around this point, Riku also just kind of casually tosses her a Keyblade, and now Kairi has a Keyblade too.
Because
Presumably because of that.
Well, he's
whole
got like
Aqua
2 or
thing
3 of
other-
them, so
yeah.
there you go.
And
No.
also, Riku has a Keyblade now too.
they never
he's-
explain that.
No, he just starts to use one because he can.
Well, and Kingdom Hearts 2 predates Birth by Sleep, so at this point you're like, Kairi has a Keyblade?
Riku
Why?
has a key- like, where?
Yeah, everyone just has Keyblades. Keyblades are no longer special. So eventually,
They learned the art of mass production.
I guess so.
eventually Riku and Kairi meet up with Sora, and Kairi is able to explain, no, this is still Riku underneath. It's fine.
Sora.
Yeah, Sora freaks out.
Real quick. Alternatively, these kids have all been through some shit.
Yeah. And this is
If
actually
that
the first
does
time.
not make you worthy of a Keyblade, then I give up. Go home.
So,
And this is the first time the 3 of them have been together since the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1.
yeah, basically.
Really.
Yeah.
So during all this, Mickey has also come to the world that never was, and is looking for Ansem, because Ansem, in the guise of Diz, trying to orchestrate all this, has decided that at this point Xemnas has gathered enough hearts by manipulating things, including Sora during Kingdom Hearts 2. He's gathered enough hearts that he's more or less put together a Kingdom Hearts.
That's a lot of hearts.
And it's a lot of hearts.
Oh, that's right. Because he's trying to get Sora to destroy all these heartlets so that he can
Capture their hearts.
capture their hearts to make Kingdom Hearts. And Ansem and King Mickey were friends, right?
Yes. Yeah, Ansem and Mickey knew each other, presumably in the space between Birth by Sleep and KH1. So
Well, they never really explained that one.
it's
But anyway.
it doesn't matter. It happens in the background. It's fine. So Mickey is trying to find
the
Ansem.
next slide?
Oh, that's Kyrie as an adult, and then this will come up in a second. So this is older version Kyrie. So
Innocent adult.
as
Teenager.
I'm sorry I misspoke. So Mickey catches up to Ansem first, and Ansem's like, I have this digitization device. I can turn hearts into data. I'm gonna try to turn Kingdom Hearts into data. And Mickey's like, it's Kingdom Hearts. You can't just do that. That's like a suitcase-sized device. You can't do that. And Ansem's like, I screwed up a lot. Like, I keep messing things up. I pushed Riku toward the darkness. I unleashed my stupid proteges on the world. Like, I kind of have to do this. It's my last-ditch effort. Everyone finally catches up to Ansem. His
How is
device.
this supposed to help?
He's trying to take Kingdom Hearts away from Xemnas.
Oh, but get it before he
he's,
does.
He's
Yeah.
gonna lock it up.
He's gonna lock it up. So they catch up to him. Ansem's device explodes, and he makes sure to say while it's exploding, anything could happen. And what happens is everyone is fine except Riku, who finally loses the Ansem business and turns into Teenage Riku.
So much angst.
Yeah.
Zippers.
And there's this ridiculous thing about him having a blindfold because he couldn't look at himself when he looked like Ansem, but he didn't have the blindfold when he was Ansem. Anyway. So they're all together now. Everyone's friends. You get Riku in your party, which is actually really cool because he has some really good team-up moves.
Nice.
And you climb the rest of the way toward Xemnas, beat up the last couple of organizers. And then Xemnas is like, I'm really sad about my whole broken Kingdom Hearts things. You guys are jerks. Also, anger and hate are the cool emotions, and you guys suck for not having them the most. And
Get
then
into your dark side, yada yada yada.
yeah, and then you fight him half a dozen times. So you go through a whole series of fights, and you think you beat Xemnas. And then the world that never was starts to collapse. Riku tries to open a portal of darkness so everyone can escape, but he can't anymore because all the darkness got blasted off of him. But Naminé shows up in ghost form again and opens a portal for them. Everyone starts to run through, but Riku, Sora, and Kairi decide they need to have one last heart-to-heart. And this is like finally the point where people explain, Roxas is your nobody, by the way. And so Kairi steps through the portal and then it collapses. Presumably because Naminé was the one who made it, so she really should have been the one to go through last.
Right,
But
right.
Naminé was a ghost. She didn't tell
yeah.
anyone. So Sora and Riku are stuck, and then
In the world of darkness.
in the world that never was.
In the world that never
Um,
was.
And then Xemnas shows up again. They have like 4 more boss fight phases. They finally beat him up, and they had to go so far into this collapsing world that they end up in the realm of darkness.
Well, like, we're making fun of this, but this is actually, I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
this was a really awesome part of the game, because we spent so much time, especially in Kingdom Hearts 1, being like this with Riku, and now we're buddies, and we're fighting through it together because we're awesome, and we're friends forever, and it's very Kingdom
There's,
Hearts.
there's
Oh, yeah,
neat
like,
team
these are-
moves.
These are some of my favorite boss fights in any game ever because they're so epic and great. So they end up in the realm of darkness, and they don't really have a way out. And so they discuss this like, I mean, we save the world, that's cool. I guess if we have to stay here, be the darkness, we'll be the darkness. At least we have each other. They have a heart-to-heart where they're really glad that they both have each other as friends. And then Kairi writes some really terrible poetry, puts it in a message in a bottle, and it somehow gets to them, and they read the terrible poetry, and that opens a door to light. That
You skipped the
gets
part where
them-
like Riku was like badly injured and
Oh, yeah.
Sora had to help him walk for some reason. Although
He
seemed,
got better.
It seemed really plot convenient. I didn't
It
really
was-
understand why Riku was so badly injured.
So, they don't do a good job building this up, but Riku is way more competent than Sora in every way. And that's part of their heart-to-heart at the end. It's like, Riku admitting, like, he doesn't like feeling weak at this point, but he is, because he's tired, because he's been fighting this whole time. And Sora's like, you've always been better than me, I'm just glad you're my friend. And...
Lean on me.
yeah, and so...
Very Sora thing.
So for once, Riku has to lean on Sora rather than the other way around. So again, bad poetry, door to light. They
Kind of a neat moment, actually.
Yeah, it's handled well, making fun of it. They fall in back to Destiny Islands. Again,
Weird all began.
time is weird though. So like this has been, I don't know, 5 minutes for them, but everyone, Kyrie, Mickey, Donald, Goofy, they're all back at Destiny Island waiting for them. And so they show up, they have their grand reunion, everyone hugs.
It's very joyous.
Yeah, and they get to go back to a regular life for a little while.
Sora gives Kairi back the amulet.
Yes, the amulet that he promised to give back to her when he came home.
Aqua wishes that she had made the train, but I guess she wasn't quite there yet.
Wait, what?
I'm just kidding.
Because Aqua's still in darkness somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Aqua. Jeez.
I should point out that Diz disappeared after the explosion.
Yes, Diz was blasted by the explosion.
Boy,
Doesn't show up.
Ansem also, like,
Yeah.
scientist Ansem,
Yeah.
also has joined the Aqua I'm getting screwed all the time club.
Speaking of, around this point, Aqua finds Ansem.
Oh.
He's been blasted back.
He's been blasted back to the realm of darkness.
Of course he has, that poor bastard.
It's okay. He's already insane.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So they meet up, and Aqua's like, "Where are you from? What's going on?" He's like, "My memories aren't so great, but I know that there are two young boys, specifically Sora, going out and saving everyone, and I'm sure he'll save us too." Which is not true, actually, as we'll find out.
Aww.
It's fine. So now we get to Kingdom Hearts Coded.
Okay, I don't,
This is-
from this point on, I don't know anything. So
Coded
what-
is the other game where
Coded.
absolutely coded, yes.
Okay.
CODED. This is the other game where absolutely nothing happens. So Donald and Goofy. Oh, by the way, Geppetto had been following them around this whole time too. Or not?
No,
Geppetto,
Jiminy Cricket.
Jiminy Cricket. Thank you.
Okay. I was
Jiminy
going to say
Cricket.
Geppetto? The fuck?
No, Jiminy Cricket had been following around this whole time and keeping their diary for them.
Right.
And this had given them various hints about what Naminé was up to when they forgot everything. And Ansem had hidden some hints in their book, supposedly. So Mickey takes Jiminy's diary and digitizes it and uses that to create a bunch of digital worlds. And they communicate with Digisora in the digital worlds and try to get him to explore these worlds to try to figure out, like, things keep going wrong, there are a bunch of bugs. Maleficent shows up again and tries to mess with them in a pointless way.
This
Because
is all
I-
a video game within a video game?
Basically. This is also something that started as a phone game but eventually got ported to the DS.
Who
they
made
do.
this digital realm?
Mickey has the technology. He
Why are
apparently
we doing
signed
this?
because there are hints that Ansem left that they need to find in Jiminy's journal, and they think
And they
they're
need to
doing
make
this.
it into a video game to go find them.
Apparently,
Okay.
Well, I mean, effectively what it is you take a huge pile of data,
Uh-huh.
which is the
The
diaries,
book, yeah.
and you construct an AI, which is virtual Sora,
mm-hmm.
and you say, find this information, because if I have to search for it, it's going to take for goddamn ever.
Okay.
But you're an AI that's in the system, so it won't take you so long.
right. So
That's
throughout,
how that
It's-
boils
it's
down.
just-
Just a little better.
Yeah, it's just weird that we have this visual
Mhm.
representation of what's
That's a
happening.
little
like,
better.
that's way more clear than they ever bother being. So Digisora goes through exploring the worlds. He basically makes friends with the real world Donald and Goofy throughout all this because they're able to talk with him and guide him.
Mm-hmm.
Maleficent interferes. Digisora has a Digi-Keyblade. Maleficent is like, that's just data. It's gone now.
This
But
is real Maleficent.
yeah, real Maleficent is messing with them. And then Digisora,
She went
because
to
of
night
his,
school
Yeah.
about coding.
I mean, she uses magic.
She's a technomancer now. Ah.
Digisora loses his Keyblade, but he's made enough of a connection to the real world people that he is able to more or less construct a Keyblade for himself out of nothing. So now there's a digital version of Sora running around with apparently a real heart because it's a real Keyblade.
Thanks to the digital power of friendship.
Yeah, thanks to the digital power of friendship.
Wow,
they eventually,
this one's real nuts.
I'm sorry, I
Again,
keep getting
like-
this mental image of Maleficent at night school going, my SQL database will not compile! And just throwing a laptop into her cauldron.
So, and then the game ends up, the only, like, you get the most boring, nonsense, vague foreshadowing that was the hint that Ansem left behind, like, pursue the hearts to awaken the sleeping dreamers, or something to that effect. Like, that's all you figure out at the end of this game.
Wow.
Because there's Diginominate that he's interacting with.
Yeah, sure. I've played
Anyway.
this is the one I care least about.
Anyway, it was
anyway,
dumb.
it's
I have
dumb.
a question
They
about the Ends of King. Oh, go ahead.
They technically lock Maleficent inside the digital world,
Oh, good.
but that lasts for like 5 minutes.
At the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, don't they get some kind of message in a bottle or some kind of, like, something from Mickey?
Yes, that is where we go next.
Oh, okay.
So that all happens off screen, and none of it matters because nothing happens. Yensid then calls Mickey and says, "Hey Mickey, can you get those two boys back? They need to learn to be Keyblade masters because they've been using this thing this whole time, but they've never really been trained for real. And I'm not going to do that either. I'm just going to send them on an adventure, but we're going to call that the Keyblade Mastery Training." So Riku. So the message in the bottle that they get at the very end of Kingdom Hearts 2 is
They look so overjoyed about.
is you need to come see Yensid again. We're going to complete your training.
Now, what game is this?
This is Dream Drop Distance.
Okay.
This is the game where, like, all the plot is at the beginning, and then a whole lot of nothing happens, and then all the plot is at the end.
All right.
So they show up, and Yensid is like, okay, there are all these dreaming worlds. The worlds that Ansem Secret Darkness destroyed, not all of them fully woke up. Some of them are still stuck dreaming. So I'm going to send you into the dreaming worlds.
Okay, so just for clarification.
Sure.
So now we have a third realm. We have the realm of light, the realm of darkness, and the dreaming realm.
I'm not sure if it's its own realm or if these are just worlds that are stuck in between and haven't fully awoken yet.
So they haven't fully come back.
They
haven't fully
come back.
reformed in the world of light.
Yeah.
We're not even at Traverse Town levels of Twilight. We're pre that.
Well, I mean,
Well,
Traverse
it's
Town
funny
is
you
just
say
like
that.
on the edge, but it's still like a whole world.
Yeah.
Like these ones were destroyed, started to reform, and got stuck somewhere in the reformation process.
I like your joke though. Good joke.
Is what it sounds like.
Right. So Yensid is going to send these two in to try to figure out what's going on, to master their Keyblades for real, and to gain a special power, he says. Through this journey, you will gain a special power that you're going to need.
Power of dreams.
So they go in. Is this? There we go. So they go in and they look like their younger selves, but in their modern costume. So there's Dreamer Riku, and there's Dreamer Sora
With crossed suspenders.
with crossed suspenders.
Wait. Why did they get younger when they went into the dreaming world?
Because they're going to world. I don't know. 'Cause they did magic. They wanted to bring back the younger versions.
Because younger versions are easier to animate?
I
because
have
they were
no idea.
simpler? I don't know.
It's
Maybe because they're trying to talk about how like half formed, like they get to be adults again when they make these worlds adult.
maybe
Because dreams are a young, innocent thing. But anyway, notice that the crossed
Anyway.
suspenders are back.
cross suspenders. Good.
Is this a thing? What are we
Well,
getting
he
at?
keeps bringing it up,
Okay,
so I'm
he
assuming
will
it is.
He'll tell us where he's going with this eventually.
I thought we'd gotten there. Have we not gotten there? We haven't
Nope.
gotten there.
We
We
haven't
got
gotten
less than
there.
an hour, Brad.
All right. That's good because we need some time. All right. So so they go into the dreaming world, and Riku and Sora are back on the raft that they made, and they're fighting Ursula. And it's
Sure.
just like, I don't know. Ursula was in Kingdom Hearts 1. They defeated her. She dissolved into darkness. So presumably she's in the dreaming worlds too, I guess, or something. They're fighting her. They beat her, but there's a huge storm. They fall into the sea. And when they wake up, they're separated and back in Traverse Town.
Of course they are.
And
These
so,
poor guys can't stay together.
Well,
Right.
at least we didn't have any stupid finny fun. Moving on.
true facts. So they are both wandering around on their own. They find out that there are these things called Dream Eaters, which are the monsters of that game, the heartless replacement. that are basically just nightmares come to life. But you can, if you do it right, you can befriend the Dream Eaters and turn them into spirits, so they companions.
Oh, so like Pokemon.
Yeah, no, it's super Pokemon. I love it. You can have dragons. And skeletal.
and that was when Brad was sold.
Yeah, and also skeletal fire-breathing T-Rexes.
I get a dragon.
and
Cam goes, putting children in a game aimed at children?
That's fair.
Yeah.
So they get separated. They meet some characters from another Square Enix game called The World Ends With You. And specifically, Joshua is able to kind of halfway cross between the world and explain that Sora and Riku are in kind of parallel worlds. He doesn't understand but exactly how, but they're still connected. They're still pursuing the same goals. They can still dive deeper into the dreams to try to figure out what's going on, and they'll be together in a way. But Joshua doesn't know anything other than that.
That would be a fun one to do for the stream someday. I really liked The World Ends With You.
Oh yeah, and there's like, if anyone ever bothers buying a Switch, there's a Switch version.
Oh.
That's apparently pretty decent. So they continue to dive into the world. And as they're doing so, they keep running across, they start running across previous villains. They meet Ansem Seeker of Darkness. They meet Xemnas. And they also meet this kid.
What?
It's a common theme here.
What?
Hi, we have droopy white hair.
So-
Is this
black trench
Tara? What?
No.
No.
Wait for it.
I have an idea, but go ahead.
So as they're diving, they keep, like, they're able to continue diving because they have this connection to each other, but they're never able to really find each other. They eventually find the dreaming version of the world that never was. Because again, that world collapsed, but
Right.
it still must exist, but it still exists here. And they start running, and by the way, this is the point where you're like 90% of the way through the game. I just skipped everything else because nothing happens.
Yeah.
They get to the world that never was, and they're running into these guys again. And you find out Riku gets ahead of the game. Like, in the game, you're able to switch between them more or less at will. But around this point, you basically have to play as Riku for a little while because his story jumps ahead a little ways. He meets this guy. I think he meets this guy. He meets this guy, and it turns out this is a young version of Xehanort. This is Xehanort as a kid. Possibly around their age, maybe a little older. This is young Xehanort.
Okay.
And after defeating young Xehanort, Riku realizes that something is very wrong because, like, this shouldn't be happening. They shouldn't be in the world that never was. That wasn't part of their goal. Something is going wrong, and he manages to wake up. And Yen Sid is like, yeah, things have gone really wrong. So then we cut back to Sora. Sora continues to dive farther into the world that never was. He's getting, like, taunted by the various Xehanorts that are around. But he's also getting these flashes of the voices of his friends saying, stop, you need to stop, slow down. But he just takes this as an egging on. He continues to dive deeper and deeper in. And it turns out, they eventually reveal the Recusant's Sigil is a thing that Xehanort has power over. It's the letter X. If you have an X on you, if you have an X in your name, if you press the X button one time in your life, Xehanort can take control over you and manipulate you on some level and make you work according to his dastardly plans.
Alright, wait, what?
Yeah.
And this is why cross suspenders are important.
This is the cross suspenders thing. This is why all of the Birth by Sleep characters had the cross suspenders. That's why Riku had the cross suspenders. They all have the X on them because Xehanort can manipulate the Recusant's Sigil.
So
What
this is
the
like,
recusant?
It's just the letter X.
It's an X.
It's just
so
the
don't
letter
wear
X.
green on St. Patrick's Day. Don't wear an X ever.
Mm-hmm.
Bad things will happen.
Are you serious right now?
Not even
And
kidding a little.
Right after Labor Day is a faux pas.
So,
Although for the record,
No.
And that's also, by the way, why Xemnas was renaming all of
That's
the
a white
organizers with X's in their name.
Oh,
We'll get back to that in a second.
no,
Yes.
wait, stop.
It's after
No,
Labor
Stop
it's
the
fine.
train. I'm
Go ahead.
confused. So, this Xehanort isn't even, like, we dealt with Xehanort. This is a young Xehanort. This
So,
isn't even Xehanort.
okay.
Right.
That's laser.
You don't. Yeah, you aren't
Do they
supposed to
explain it?
understand. Yes.
Okay, then I'll
So
It's
young Xehanort is messing
Xehanort?
with him. Zemnis is messing with him. He meets like old bald goatee Xehanort at some point too, and he's messing with them. So,
I'm messing.
Sora
messing with you across.
chases
the
after
timeline.
them, fights them, and because he's so deep into the dream, because he's been manipulated so much, because he has the X on him, he falls comatose. He isn't able to continue fighting back. Switch back to the real world. It turns out that Sora has been manipulated this whole time since they fell into the dreaming world by Xehanort for his dastardly plan that we'll get back to. And Riku instinctively, when they fell into the ocean and got separated, Riku had actually dived into Sora's dreams. That's why they were separated. Because Sora was in these dreams, having his own dreams, and so Sora was seeing the reflection of that within Sora and trying to save him.
Riku was
Riku's
seeing the reflection of that within Sora
Yeah,
and
sorry.
trying to save him.
Yes, Riku was seeing the reflection of that inside Sora, trying to save him.
Wow.
Um,
This is the worst. This is the craziest one yet.
It gets better. So,
Worse or better?
so Riku, because he already has this connection, has to dive back in and try to save Sora. So he gets in, and so we get into a throne room that they've shown various times in various Organization 13 shots. There's this big white empty room with these giant towering thrones, and normally the 13 organizers would sit on them, but now it's a couple of the organizers and also Xemnas and Ansem Seeker of Darkness and old Xehanort and young Xehanort. And Xehanort reveals his dastardly plan at this point, which is, I can travel through time.
Since when?
There are some really convoluted rules, though. You can only send your heart back through time, and you can only send to your heart 2 places where your heart has been. So he could send his heart back to his younger self, and use that to set up all of this nonsense that has happened since Birth by Sleep. He manipulated his own younger self to set all of this up. But the other caveat is you don't get to remember any of the things that happens from the time travel. You can just manipulate people's hearts as you're traveling and hope that works. And so the other part is there are still organizers here, but they all have Ansem's golden eyes. When a nobody becomes a nobody, they don't stay empty for long. A body can't exist without a heart, so you basically immediately start growing a new one. So Xemnas, or Xehanort, had created Organization 13 because he wanted to put a seed of himself in all of these empty bodies so he could have all of these extra versions of himself. Most of those went wrong. Like, all of the rebels from Chain of Memories died. A bunch of the ones that died in Kingdom Hearts 2, including Axel, it didn't work out. And so he's having to grab the remainder of his organizers and also the disparate versions of his time-displaced selves and gather them all together. Because if you have 13 wielders of darkness and 7 wielders of light, if they get into a fight, that's effectively a new Keyblade War, and you can find Kingdom Hearts again.
He doesn't need one clone, Leah. He needs
Always
13.
about Kingdom
It's always
Hearts.
about
I can't
Kingdom
believe how many different ways there are to get there.
Right? Like, you
Yeah.
think it's
How
really tough
roads
to get.
lead to Kingdom Hearts? Like,
It's like I swear I wonder how people aren't stumbling across this on their way to work sometimes.
Yeah.
So if you have 6 sandwiches for lunch and
And
2 pieces of pie for dessert, you'll get to Kingdom Hearts.
No,
Right.
it's 6 sandwiches and 13 cookies.
Oh,
Because you have to have the light in the dark. But they have to be chocolate cookies.
So this is his master plan. This is the setup for Kingdom
With
Hearts
an
3.
X on them.
this is the setup for Kingdom Hearts 3?
And also,
Yes.
this is why he manipulated Sora into all of this. He knew that Sora was vulnerable during this whole dream diving thing. Sora is going to be one of the 13 of Darkness. But Riku manages to come in and fight them off for long enough for Mickey to follow him somehow into the dreaming world.
Sure, just
And
go
they
with it.
fight for a while. And then Lee shows up.
Not Axel.
Lee?
Lee. Remember the red-haired
Oh,
guy?
right.
Yeah. But that's it.
When
But that's
you
important. It's not Axel.
Yeah,
It's Lee.
it's not Axel anymore, because when you defeat a nobody and they're heartless, they get to just reform as a normal person off screen. It's not a big deal.
Didn't you know?
So
Apparently,
all of them
that's
did
all
that?
we needed to
All
do this entire time.
All of them except the ones that were stuck as Xehanort copies. So, and that includes, by the way, Syx. If you remember Issa from before, he was used to be friends with
With Lee.
but when they became nobodies, Syx went all in on the Xehanort plan, whereas Axel made friends with someone with a heart, so he got to go his own direction.
Right.
So Syx now is a Xehanort.
So Zayat is okay.
So
That's
now,
nice.
but because Axel and Lee were fan favorites, they decided to bring him back, and also during this whole dream distance thing,
Dream drop distance.
for the Lee has been off to the side training to master his own Keyblade.
Yeah, that's actually a great reveal during the last part of the
Yeah.
last scene. Axel's just like, shink!
So he's like,
Early,
so he just
not
shows up
Axel.
at the end. So Riku, Mickey, and Lee, all working
Lee.
together, managed to save Sora and bring him back to the waking world.
So he's not going to be one of the 13. That
So
was
he's
the
not gonna
plan.
be- yeah, that
but
was the plan.
They foiled it.
But as usual, Xehanort's like, ha ha ha, this was all part of my plan, you'll see.
No, I knew this would happen.
And all of his time displaced parts go back to where they were, and he's like, we'll gather again later once my plan is ready for fruition. Laters.
Yeah, so somebody made the connection earlier, but yeah, this is just like when I GM games. It's like, no, seriously, this was all part of my master plan.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so glad you guys figured that out.
That's the best way. Is give your players just enough strings that they'll tug on them and try to figure out what's going on, and then you choose whichever of the things the best version of their hypotheses, and run with that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's great.
That's all I do is give
but-
you guys rope.
Yeah, because basically
Just
the
enough to
time
hang
limit
yourself.
on the time travel ran out.
Yeah.
They lost the window to try to do this thing to Sora. They're all fading away, and they're like, "It's cool, guys. It's cool. None of you are gonna remember what happened because time travel, but it's okay. We'll figure it out next time."
It's alright, I got
I'm
this. This is
actually
still a
kind
part
of
of my
sad
plan.
to hear. You can finish this second, but
Okay.
like, we didn't really go. Oh, hey, honey,
Mom, I have a question.
go ahead.
Okay.
Can I move $5 over to my card just to buy one game?
Oh.
Okay.
Clean your room if you want money. Love you.
I'm really sad about because like we didn't go
Okay.
over it in great detail, but like Axel's death in Kingdom Hearts 2 was yeah, no, I really don't.
So you have come this far, and still you understand nothing.
Axel's death in Kingdom Hearts 2 was like really heroic and
Yeah.
really poignant
Uh-huh.
and like really powerful.
Like, this was a person who was fading away forever. They were giving up what little existence they had.
to save Sora
Uh-huh.
and effectively Roxas, right? Like he's sacrificing himself. He's been an anti-hero the whole time. Like you've never known which
Yeah.
side he's really on, but he's on your side because of the power of friendship, and it's a really noble sacrifice. And you're like, wow, that was really powerful. And then no, wait, he's fine. No, we didn't
fine.
mean it. Like,
Yeah.
Although,
It's kinda weak.
although here's the thing. While I agree,
Mhm.
I also think though that it doesn't necessarily diminish from his death because he didn't know
Yeah.
any of that.
No one at the time knew.
Yeah.
It was still a sacrifice of his part. He
yes.
thought he was giving himself.
Yes, it was still a
Yeah.
sacrifice. It still had merit. It was still noble.
yeah.
And maybe think of this more as, rather than just going, oh, I guess you're fine now, maybe focus on it as more of a, you did something noble and sacrificed yourself. So the light went, boop, there you go.
Yeah, the Phoenix has reformed you into.
Think of it that way, because we
I
haven't
mean-
seen anybody else do that yet.
Everyone else who didn't become a Xehanort goes back to normal.
God damn it.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but let's think.
Nice try, Dre.
When I first saw this, I'm like, wait a minute.
tried.
So if you
You
kill
tried.
a Heartless and you kill a Nobody, they get to reform as the original.
Mm-hmm. And we have defeated at this point Xehanort's Heartless and Xehanort's Nobody.
Oh no.
So everyone gets back to the waking world.
Right.
Everyone's very excited. And Yensid's like, all right, hang on for a moment. This was supposed to be your Mark of Mastery exam. and Riku, you're a master now. Sora, sorry, maybe next time. And Sora's very happy because he's just happy that his friend passed. He doesn't care that he didn't. And because, Sora failed. Like, he got sucked into the darkness, manipulated by Xehanort, all that jazz. But Riku has mastery now.
Right.
And so... and that's most of the important things that happened at that point. Sora also, as a side note, so that he can be off screen for a little while, says, "Oh, by the way, I didn't get to say goodbye to my friends," meaning all the spirits that he added to his party during the game.
Yeah.
So he's like, "I need to go back and say goodbye to my friends." So he goes back into the dreaming world for a little while. He's off screen for a second. Jens is like, "Hey, by the way, didn't that girl who was with you have a Keyblade? We should probably get her back here and start her training." So Kairi comes to Jens's tower and starts her training alongside Lee. They do that off camera, and will probably be doing that until the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 3.
So they actually get training. They don't just get thrown into the deep end of the pool with the sharks.
Yeah.
Have fun!
Imagine that.
So then, you remember how I said that Birth by Sleep 0.2 A Fragmentary Passage was about 2 costume changes?
Yeah.
We've only discussed 1 so far. So,
Right.
at this point, Mickey is like, "Oh, by the way, there's this friend I had named Aqua, and a lot of things happened to
I feel
her.
like I kind of remember this, but go ahead.
A lot of things happened to her, and I'm really worried about her, and I want to go save her." And Riku's like, "Why didn't you tell me about this earlier? We could have gone and saved her a long time ago." And Jensen's like, "You needed the mark of mastery before you were able to." And so he hands a couple of suitcases to Riku and Mickey and says, "You can wear these clothes to get through the Realm of Darkness and save Aqua." And they don't actually show the new costumes yet, but this is a setup for Kingdom Hearts 3. This is the second costume change.
Right.
Because clothes help you deal with the world, with the realm
They're-
of darkness.
Again, they're magic clothes that probably the good fairies helped with and all that jazz.
Okay.
Jensen's still a powerful wizard.
Okay.
So,
Poor Aqua. Poor Terra, actually. Terra has also really gotten the short end of this stick.
yeah, like, no one's
Yeah.
going to save him. He's still just kind of off on his own.
Well, I
being
mean, but
possessed
now,
in various forms.
There's one good thing about if we get Xehanort back, like, Terra is savable again. Like,
Maybe.
when Xehanort split himself into Ansem Seeker of Darkness, the Heartless, and Zenmus, the Nobody, like, Terra was effectively gone at that point.
No, because
right?
that was Terra's body. Like,
Right, but not
Zemnis was
Terra's
technically Terra's
body.
body.
Okay.
Because, like, in the time between when he got possessed by Xehanort and when he split into 2, like, 7 years had passed. He grew up. That's why he doesn't look exactly the same as Terra. He looks like an older version. That's Terra as an adult, basically.
Okay, so...
So yes, they're going to reform, but it's still going to be Terra in there with Xehanort.
Right.
But I think the point is that.
But yes, but they're saying.
But this offers us an opportunity to get Xehanort out of Terra.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, Terra is technically savable if we reform Xehanort back into Xehanort,
Yes.
And
not
actually,
pieces.
The secret ending of Birth by Sleep, did you guys do that on this stream? It's a whole bunch of groups of people, some of
Yeah.
who you probably didn't recognize, saying Sora's name with hope. Among them are Ven and Terra, and among them are Axel, Roxas, and Shion. And in Twilight Town, I don't know how that's going to work with both
It's-
Roxas and Ventus running
Wait,
around.
I
I
maintain
thought
that this was
Shion
largely
was
mine.
just gone and nobody remembered her.
She is.
Yeah.
See, I don't believe that any of that was actually like main continuity. This was just them having an emotional moment where everyone
Oh,
wants
okay.
Sora to do good.
Good. That
So-
would be easier.
So anyway, so all that happens. Riku and Mickey leave, and then Sora comes back from the dreaming world, having said goodbye to his friends.
Did they ditch me again?
Yeah, he's like, did they leave already? Why did they leave without saying goodbye? And everyone's like, you had to go and say goodbye to your dream friends. You missed it. And Yen
Also,
says,
you need to train because you're not a master yet.
yes, Yen Sid is like, all right, you're not a master yet, but you really need to be. Luckily, I know someone who trains heroes. So in various games we haven't talked about it, they kept going back to Olympus Coliseum to the world of Hercules,
Right.
and Phil, who trained him.
Right.
And so then they head off in Phil's direction. to learn to become masters at Olympus Coliseum.
Wait. Lee and Kairi are training with Yen Sid to be masters.
Yes.
For some
they're training.
reason, Sora can't join
No,
that
okay,
class.
they're not training to be masters yet. They're learning to use Keyblades at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like when Lee showed up and was like had this dramatic moment where he pulled out a Keyblade,
He's
he
like,
did it again.
haha, what am I going to do with this?
No, he did it again later, but it was way more of a struggle. Like, he had to think about it for a good 30 seconds before he was able to materialize it.
Okay.
This is not a thing that comes easily to most people. Sora is an exception, of course.
Okay.
So, and as you may remember in the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1, he wasn't able to control when the Keyblade showed up and when it didn't.
Yeah.
It just
showed
kind
up
of did when he
him
needed it.
to.
So they're studying to learn to wield
To use
Keyblades
it.
at all.
Okay.
Sora is going to do his to become a master.
Alright, that makes more sense.
Riku is going to save Aqua, and presumably that's where Kingdom Hearts 3 will start.
Poor Aqua.
I know.
Okay, I'm
Good
calling it now.
Lord.
The
Okay.
one who trains you to be a master is going to be Keyblade Master Yoda.
Oh my god.
That'd be pretty good.
Sign me up.
But, like, they've kind of already tied themselves to the whole Hercules thing, so, I don't know, maybe there'll be
Yeah,
more
but
to
Phil's
it.
useless.
I don't know.
So a couple more notes on Sora and Dream Drop Distance. Brad, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think part of the manipulation of getting Sora to go further and further into the dream until he pretty much dropped from exhaustion and could be captured was they were leading him to believe that his friends were trapped in there and he needed to go run farther after them.
That's possible, yeah. Like, I think he was getting echoes of people from the real world telling him, like, being concerned about him, and so Xehanort was, like, using that to manipulate him to continue.
And second of all, when Yen Sid says, okay, you get the Mark of Mastery and sorry dude, you fail, his head's down and you think he's really disappointed, but then next moment he looks up and he's like, whoa, Riku, congratulations, that's so cool! In the typical Sora way. Like, I'm not gonna let this get me down one bit, I just need to train harder, woohoo!
Sora's pretty great. Dream Drop Distance. The hell?
Yeah.
Like, no,
Yeah, so-
wait.
so what
no,
happened
wait.
was-
I'm gonna let you finish.
Okay.
What is
Okay, you're out of here. We can't talk to you anymore.
I'm s-
No, you pulled that number. We're done.
What? You have an X on your clothing, so I get to control you?
Actually, you know what that reminds me of? Did you? Okay, who here's seen From Dusk Till Dawn?
Yep.
Well, it's been a long time, but yeah.
Okay, so in the first one, you have a crucifix can repel vampires.
Uh-huh.
In the second one, anything like this, anything, 2 sticks,
Your arms.
candles, your arms, a window, because the light
Well,
comes
no.
through a window.
No, wait, hang on. Didn't they do that in the first one where the guy had like a crowbar or something like that notched across his shotgun? Mm-hmm. And he was holding it like that and then cocking it back and shooting vampires, but he was doing
But that was the priest
Okay.
doing that.
Yeah, but still, it wasn't a crucifix, though.
Well,
Yes.
but the point is that in the first movie, it was like, it had to be a thing. And then in the second one, like, there's a scene where light comes through a window that has crossbars and starts burning a vampire. And it's like, that's
Sorry, Brad, I couldn't
stupid.
resist.
No,
But
it's
seriously, what?
Yeah, no, it's completely absurd. And they'd kind of been setting it up for a while with the whole renaming people and such, and they made a bit of a bigger deal of it.
And I mean, like,
but-
that part is cool. Like, okay, the reason they put the X in all the names, alright, I have to admit that's kind of cool. But, like,
And cross suspenders.
when
The
you...
belts had meaning.
Yes.
Obviously,
So,
what you would
crossing
compare
the,
what you would compare
Right.
this to,
The
game-wise in this series, is
Hearts.
Chain of Memories, right? Because Chain of Memories is the setup for Kingdom Hearts 2. This
Yeah.
is the setup for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Sure.
So these are the two games that are comparable in terms of purpose,
Sure.
right? I look back at Chain of Memories and I'm like, you know what? It's crazy, but it makes sense. Like, I can believe that happened. Like, yes, they pulled some stuff out of their butts because it's Kingdom Hearts. You do that, you know? There's going to be some Deus Ex Machina in there. Fine. But, like, I can travel through time with all of these ridiculous caveats, and you're wearing suspenders so I can control you? What?
No, it went off the deep end with Dream Drop Distance.
I'm beginning to think I didn't miss much not
It's-
seeing that game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
it's my theory is that a bunch of Square Enix developers went and saw Inception, and they're like, "We should do that." but with real janky time travel too. That'll definitely make it better.
And that'll make it our idea.
Yeah.
Because I look back on
Here's
Chain of
our
Memories, and I'm
15%
like,
change.
if I was going to recommend Kingdom Hearts split games to play to someone, or even to watch to know what was going on, I would absolutely recommend Chain of Memories. Like, I feel like you get a lot of interesting plot. I did not like the gameplay in that game, but that's I felt like the plot and the characters in that game were really interesting. And especially like the between level stuff where like Sora's losing his memories or they're getting rewritten. Like, it's a little creepy. It's a little interesting. You're kind of questioning like, wow, like, is that really what happened or whatever? Like, it's really well written. So, like, yes, I would absolutely recommend Chain of Memories. I can't say anything about DDD because I haven't played it or seen it played, but what the hell?
Yeah. It's really absurd. I don't know.
I still don't understand all the time travel. You don't have to explain it again. I'm not going to get it.
It doesn't really make sense.
Well, and why, if you have that power, why employ that now?
Are we subject to that again?
The time travel thing? No, he's absolutely going to use the time travel thing again because he has to, because the plot of Kingdom Hearts 3 is he's going to gather the 13 darkness wielders, and the heroes have to gather the 7 light wielders.
Whom I'm still trying to count, by the way.
Yeah, to play into his plans, I guess. Like, I don't know why they're willingly doing this.
We should have had a counter for how many ways to get to Kingdom Hearts.
It's really just like 4. But
so far.
So yeah, it's
that's
going to be the setup.
Yo.
So, but like again, he has the 13 wielders in multiple copies of himself, and that's the plan. I don't know where he's going to get the last set. There's plenty of like speculation about like, is Terra a warrior of darkness? Like, I mean, the easiest count is Sora, Riku, Kairi, Terra, Aquavan, Mickey. Warriors of Light.
What about Lee?
Yes, that's a good question. And so maybe Terra is a warrior of darkness. Maybe, who knows? Also, one tiny note that might come up because they like to do this. I neglected to mention in Kingdom Hearts 1, in the re-release of the game, they added some content, and one of those things was a bonus fight that ends up being Sora in Kingdom Hearts 1 fighting Xemnas. Xemnas shows up and is like, I want to see how tough you are, you're going to be part of my plans, let's fight. And so you do, and it's a really tough fight, because it's a bonus fight. And then he leaves saying some mysterious nonsense. In Kingdom Hearts 2, when they did the re-release and added bonus fights, Sora is able to go to the Keyblade graveyard and fight the Lingering Will.
Oh.
And they've said that both of these fights are canon, despite the fact that they were the bonus fights in post-release games. That these things happen. Sora met Xemnas twice and also fought Lingering Will. So we'll see if that matters. It's a plot thread that they could tug on.
Well, this is Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see if they wrap up any of it.
Well, didn't you say that this was going to, even if they release more Kingdom Hearts games, this is going to be the end of the Xehanort?
The plan that I heard, and this was from like 8+ years ago probably now.
It's old info.
Yeah, it's old info, but they said that Sora is always going to be the main character of the Kingdom Hearts series, but this is the end of the Xehanort part of the story. So that's why...
I kind of hope so, because man, is it getting complicated.
Yeah, that is also possibly why the Master of Masters is important, because if he's going to crop up again, that could be in subsequent games.
Okay.
So...
Any questions? Everyone feel enlightened?
So to summarize...
No!
So to summarize the summary, that guy.
With that guy again.
Oh my god, that guy.
But he has an X on his uniform.
But it's his symbol.
Yeah, it's his symbol. He gets to do it.
At least he can control
And also,
himself.
like, theoretically... So, okay.
Maybe it's to help control the
and some Seeker of Darkness seemed to be kind of out of control and just going on a destructive rampage. Because, you know, he didn't have, like, the body and memories of Xemnas. Xemnas had the bodies and memories.
He did have crossed suspenders.
Yeah, but it is possible
Over
that
his
Xehanort,
jawline.
using his nonsense time travel powers, was controlling him via the X.
Gotcha.
So now we have to go back through all the games and be like, what parts of this might have been...
Uh-huh.
No, we don't have to go back through anything.
I think we're good.
We can just skip forward. And, hope that it makes sense by the time the curtain falls.
Well, I need a nap and a mind wipe.
Well, thank you, Brad, our Kingdom Hearts scholar, for bringing us all up to speed. I'm sure after the first hour of Kingdom Hearts 3, we're going to be like, what?
Yeah, no, they're totally going to pull the rug out from under you immediately.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you for, sitting through all this nonsense with me. I know it was way, way longer than I said it was going to be. I apologize.
A little over twice as long.
I hope everyone still had fun.
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
Okay.
Shall we do a proper outro this time?
We did the last time we outroed with Brad going, I have to pee.
Well, I don't need to
The
pee again, so we have to come
need
up
for
with
bodily
something else.
functions and Thanksgiving leftovers overwhelmed us suddenly. We needed to restore ourselves.
It had to happen.
Well,
We were kind of short on time anyways. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Thanks, Brad, for filling our heads with useless knowledge, because that's what we do around here. And
I've infected you.
And well, as any indication from my conversation with Dre about remembering games I've played, I've already forgotten most of it,
That's
so
fine.
I'm okay.
You don't need me.
And on that note, thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you guys next episode. Bye!